up and it goes to the next round, Moss and Lloyd go just Callista Thresh and destroy you. So wouldn't be surprised to see it get taken away.
It's a very good point, but we are in a champion select, ladies and gentlemen. Nah and Diana banned away from the Chiefs so far, and Callista Braum hitting the bench. So not going to make the Callista mistake one more time.
And I want to talk about an adaptation that I think we're going to see out of the Chiefs. Swipe has been playing a lot of tanks. Like, a lot of tanks. He got one Hecarim game against Detonation Focus Me. It didn't work out, and they said, let's just secure this with a tanky top laner. I don't think that's the case. When they play best of fives, this is something they've done every single time they go into best of fives. They like to be able to mix it up, especially for game one and throw the curveball. And I actually expect it to come out with a couple of the tank bans there.
Well, Alistair is going to be taken away. Thresh was left up. That does look like an option here. Ejim has been making fantastic things happen on that champion, and Moss as well. It's almost like you have to get rid of that option for Moss because he's so frightening.
With this adaptation, it's wonderful in the draft phase. The fact that Braum was banned very early from the Bangkok Titans, so the response for the Chiefs is to last ban Alistair and then priority pick up Thresh. Think about how far down into the support champion pool. We're probably going to see Moss end up on Nautilus, but really limiting that.
And wow, that's interesting out of Bangkok Titans. Two heavy engaged champions in the form of a AD carry and a top laner.
We're all shocked.
Oh my goodness, the Bangkok Titans trying to fight?
No, the reason I'm actually really surprised about it is that is completely disregarding Swiper's champion pool. This is what Swiper did against Elwind.
To take the counter pick into the Maokai matchup.
Yeah, because they've taken away the two tanks, so he has no choice to do it. And there's just so many good counter picks into that top lane.
Oh my
Have a look.
goodness.
Like
Speaking
Fizz.
of which, and this is something that I want to talk about, the fact that Swiper hasn't picked up the Fizz just yet. We saw it in the OPL final, if anyone watched it. His Fizz was destroying people. Fantastic pick. Picked up a quadra kill, I believe, in about game 3, but man, Swiffer can play it as well. They can flex that champion, and the Elise for Spooks, it's comfort all over for the Chiefs right now.
And we've talked about multiple times how Elise really changes the fundamental dynamics of the Chiefs. Their aggression or their caution in the jungle, and Spooks likes to go hard on this champion.
It certainly does. Likes to invade, likes to be very proactive, is I think the best way we can say it. He's a nice calm jungler if he's on something like the Gragas Rek'Sai, very heavy on vision control and just playing his role for the team. Throws caution to the wind, however, when he is able to grab the Elise, and hopefully we get another bloodthirsty game.
Please, do it, 007.
Do it, 007. Grab the Rengar. Looks like it could potentially be that support cannon as well for Moss. Of course, we took down sort of what his comfort champions were, and they've all been banned away or picked up here on the side of Chiefs. So might be bringing that one out instead.
And something that should be noticed about Moss is he is known as playing kind of irregular support champions. That's the word, unorthodox. He has pulled out a Gragas support before, so Kinnan support, I mean, it's not super fringe, but it definitely is in the realm of possibilities for this player.
Yeah, the Gragas support was actually in the last IWC against Detonation Focus Me, and you know, it definitely was not a disrespectful pick because he played it fantastically.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that is just...
Hey, weren't we just talking about
Isn't this the quintessential Chiefs team comp right now?
This is a triple threat with a lot of pick potential coming out of the Chiefs, and that's damage every roll.
Big thing, though, I think to underline is comfort, comfort, comfort.
Yeah, this is what they're known for. Every single one of these champions speaks to this player. That's what they are.
They're the highest, with the exception of Ari. He played more Azir games, I think, this time around. But of all time, nearly, I'm going to say that is nearly the Chiefs' highest played role of all time.
But on the other side, it does open up a counter pick potential for G4, so he knows that he's going into the Ahri, and we know that he's very comfortable. I was going to say Zed, but he's now hovering the Yasuo.
Yeah, so I like that you mentioned Zed. Zed actually wins this matchup, in my opinion, but Yasuo is a whole nother kettle of fish. All of a sudden, pick a little bit more difficult because you have to take into account the win wall.
Yeah, I think it's in a direct response, like you said, the pick, the fact that you're competing against Ahri Charm as well as Thresh Death Sentence, a lot of non-committal CC, you got the Cocoon on top of that. So the win wall is going to do wonders in at least resetting one of those scary situations.
But the one thing I do want to point out is if there is ever a point of the game where Yasuo is weak, it's levels 1 and 2. And if Ejim is able to roam into that lane, that is a very bad situation from G4. We've seen it every game. Going to go out on a limb and say it's probably going to happen game 1 as well. Potentially. And yeah, that's just not great news for G4, but he has got the exhaust.
Yeah, pick that one up instead. Of course, the Wife Steal bottom lane now for the Chiefs as well as we see this one here. And into the Sivir Cannon.
Yeah, don't really care about the bottom lane. The other thing I want to hit on with the Yasuo is the fact that Fizz is really good against Yasuo, especially late game. And because top lane Fizz doesn't really rely on hitting the skill shots as much like the Playful Trickster, there's not as much outplay potential because he's just going to auto-attack you to death. So expect the Chiefs, if they do go into split push mode early, give the red buff actually over to the Fizz, and then he'll just chase the Yasuo down.
Yeah, Windwall does not block a Fizz. It blocks projectiles. Does make a fair bit of sense there, but we are going to see what they are going to bring.
What is going on over there?
I'm just thinking, like, Urchin Strike, he looks like a projectile, but he's not going to get blocked.
But you could hear the thought process in your tone, like as it was all, the cogs are turning.
What thought process, guys? It doesn't happen
The
a lot.
Windwall doesn't block the Fizz.
Yep, cool. But we are going to have a pause to open up the game. This is going to allow me to unscramble my brain, which is quite handy.
So I want to talk about win conditions. We've talked a little bit about the comps, so I want to talk about the teams and their identities about how they play. Now, to me, coming into this matchup, this is strategy versus power. And I think that's probably the most simplistic way to talk about this, because obviously the Chiefs have shown that they're well coordinated for their 5v5, their skirmish. Likewise, we've seen some incredible split pushing from the Bangkok Titans, so they both have their strengths in micro and macro. But just to simplify this is the Bangkok Titans, the powerhouse team, the 5v5 teaming. If it's chaos, if it's skirmishing, they will come out on top. And the Chiefs, probably the strongest macro-oriented performance that we've seen throughout the tournament has come from them. So to me, this is almost brains versus brawn.
And it was against the Bangkok Titans. That's why I think that this matchup weighs a little bit more on the Bangkok Titans' mind until game one is over. And then I think we can go back to a clean slate because the Chiefs beat them in both regard. They beat them with the Callista pick, which is their brute force team comp. And Bangkok Titans were, and then they beat them with the TF, where they were just everywhere on the map. So Bangkok Titans, I like what they've gone with here. It's heavy engage. It's a lot of tools on every member. In fact, it's weird. Their mid laner probably has the least tools. He's got a knock up and some high damage. But like you're looking at Cannon, you're looking at the Rek'Sai as well as Maokai. They can just be everywhere on the map and start things off nice and early. So we'll see whether the Bangkok Titans are able to use those tools to get ahead and then from there start forcing team fights. Because if the Chiefs get ahead, they control vision, you have to walk into them, all kinds of bad things happen.
All right, specifically on the vision, just because it's such a heavy poke composition, I can't not emphasize this enough. If the Chiefs ever get ahead with their famous triangle vision, walking into a charm, into a cocoon, into the death sentence, it's perfect performance.
Yeah, and it's just the amount of control of an area they have with the fish, with the box. You just can't chase through the jungle against this lineup. But in the same regard, Bangkok Titans, if they get ahead, can execute the exact same manner.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that if a lot of these skill shots get thrown out at the same time, Windwall blocks all of them, they have the perfect response to get straight on top of the Chiefs lineup. They just press the go button, the donkey whistle from Siva.
If the Chiefs throw 4 projectiles into a Windwall, they deserve to lose the set.
Well, look, they probably will then too. So it makes a bit of sense. I'm just throwing out what the Bangkok Titans can do here against the Chiefs in order to answer the aggression.
A lot of these teams have had issues with walls and other various
Yeah, no, they certainly have.
Well, no, that's champion-created terrain. It's a very different story.
Okay.
I have a feeling they'll have that one nailed.
Jarvan, Braum, Azir, Yasuo comp is just deadly in the IWCQ.
This is everything just creates a wall and no one's going to be able to get around it.
Yeah, you'd be wrecked, every single one. But Braum, thankfully, is banned and Azir wasn't picked up, so...
And that's actually something that we have to talk about. You know, the absence of Azir in the whole IWCQ tournament has been weird.
Nara played it once.
There's really good Azir players in the tournament. It's not like these players don't play Azir, but for whatever reason, just completely bypassing this champion. It's been all about the assassins, and I feel like players are going back to their mechanical ceiling versus maybe some more macro-oriented gameplay.
That's a very good point, but we are onto the rift, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 1 of the IWCQ Grand Final. Chiefs taking on the Bangkok Titans. And G4 bringing out another assassin, the Yasuo here. And that means that he's only played one champion more than once, and that's Diana.
Which, of course, was banned this game.
Yeah, which you won't get ever again, because the guy's a monster on it. Unless the Chiefs want to first pick it, which is dangerous. You probably don't want to give G4 that champion.
That said, it does look like we have a 5-point setting up from both teams, and what a 5-point is it just means that all 5 members of the team are covering the various entrances. It's kind of like a safety net or the option play of League of Legends, because you can respond in kind.
That cash money.
Like that.
Moss making bank there. Does get a good ward over the top of the red buff, which means that the Chiefs, if they do go for their cheeky lane swap, will give away which side of the jungle they are starting on. And it looks like right now, Bangkok Titans want bottom side presence.
I was actually really curious if the Chiefs were going to pull the trigger on an initial lane swap in Game 1, but I think this is actually fairly smart. For Game 1, the opening set, just take the 2v2, get a very powerful lane in the Lifesteal Thresh Lucian, and try to just brute force out the Bangkok Titans.
Completely agree. I think if it had been anything else, if they had the Sivir, it definitely would have been a lane swap, but when you look at how strong Thresh Lucian is, especially at levels 1 and 2 with empowered Flay auto attack and the Light Slinger passive that does come out of Lucian, it's just going to be very hard for the Sivir to get anything done.
What's really important about the bottom lane, pretty much any lane, but especially a Sivir lane, is how you control the creep wave. And because her support is Kennen, if they ever get the push onto Lucian and Thresh, it's pretty much just free cooldowns and poke from Kennen, since he's an energy-based champion as opposed to a mana-based champion.
Yeah, and I actually really love the standard lanes for the sort of the mental reasons. The fact that if you come out of this game, you know that if you've won in standard lanes, then the onus isn't on you to go for any sort of lane swap, any sort of mix-up. And they get to feel each other out here in the early stage of the game.
But because Rek'Sai smited the Gromp for his team, they were able to take the Gromp much earlier than the Krugs from the Chiefs, and now the push starts on Bangkok Titans side, and Moss trying to get aggressive.
It's actually a really good adaptation from the Bangkok Titans in response to seeing the Lucian Thresh lane.
I actually think you should just do it every time with Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai jungles so quickly without any health.
The breakdancing.
Yeah. Just be able to get any advantage for your lanes that you can if you are a Rek'Sai, and that starts with not taking your first jungle camp.
Specifically Rek'Sai on 007 as well. Not only does it empower his counter jungling habits just because of how quickly Rek'Sai can clear through her own jungle, but the invade potential from Rek'Sai with her Tremor Sense. I feel like this is just the perfect stylistic champion for 007.
A level 3 hit by the Bangkok Titans here in the bottom lane. G4 misses the Steel Tempest. Swift are going to auto attack him. Doing too much.
Sends a message.
Yeah, right, it does. Ejim hit by a shuriken there as Spooks is considering a gank.
So they know where the ward is. They back away. He is still going to commit, however.
Sivir is level 3, does have Spell Shield. I feel like this is the calm before the storm.
Cocoon thrown out, not going to find Moss.
So far, the map's actually a very calm place. As you would expect, Bangkok Titans shoving up their lanes as much as possible, trying to encourage that invade-heavy style to come out of 007X. He probably has flashbacks of Game Point 5, where Elise was picked up and it didn't really work out to his advantage. But so far, Bangkok Titans not really changing much up.
And just to expand what Spawn is talking about, because they force all of their lanes into the tower, it locks down the Chiefs members on their own towers, which opens up space for 007 to run into the enemy jungle, and just means his laners can get there first. So if anything should happen, he's got backup.
Well, Ejim's going to get stunned here by the passive from Moss. Nice boomerang for the double tap onto the Thresh, who's now down to about 300 health.
You saw Ejim's face there. He was not happy with how that went. Now 007X in the bottom lane. They need to be careful.
Yeah, death sentence onto Moss. Able to get some damage back. His Rady, the heal comes down, but first blood goes to 007X. This is the aggression we were talking about from the Bangkok Titans.
We certainly is, and that's 007X winning the lane twice for his team. First he gives over the Gromp, then he comes down for a nice gank. Make sure he's the one that takes the initial turret shot because he was never in danger of dying, and all of a sudden that bottom lane, which should be going heavily in the Chiefs' favor because of the champion picks, they're 10 CS down and give up the first kill.
Just textbook maneuver from the Bangkok Titans. Again, every single lane is pushed forward, whittling down the Chiefs members and opening up 007 to be the playmaker.
Yeah, and this is something that I was really surprised about. 007X really impressed me with how he played last IWC, and this time hasn't had a horrible tournament by any standards, but just hasn't been his aggressive self, and starting off game one the right way definitely is good for the C region, because when he gets rolling, he is very annoying to deal with.
But this is naturally the gamble that comes out of the Chiefs. You know, you understand that you can fall back to your macro-oriented self. You can look for a lane swap. You could try to beat the Bangkok Titans around the map. But this time around, trying to get the superior 1v1s and brute force the Bangkok Titans down, this time around kind of biting them in the ass.
Just a little bit. Spooks considering a gank on the top side of the map. Krugs are being taken by 007X, so he's in the area if anything should happen. But Decent vision from the Chiefs as well up the river means that they know that no mid lane is following at this point.
This is actually a good counter gank from both people. They go in.
Yeah, there's the fish onto Warlock. He's in a lot of trouble now. Down to about 100 health. Playful Trickster comes in. Swiper grabs the kill in the top lane, but 007X, he's very strong. Swiper needs to be careful. One more auto attack will do it. The Burrows there. Pre-Seeker nets in the kill. Spooks can't go back in.
Yeah, and I want to see, was that actually the Fizz that got the first kill?
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, so it is. So huge advantage actually for the top laner of the Chiefs, because if anyone can snowball a lane, it is going to be the Fizz, but good answer back out of Bangkok Titans. More action in the bottom.
Yeah, Moss takes a whole bunch of damage, but just zoning the Chiefs away so Lloyd can get farm. 52 to 46.
But they're pulling the aggression because they have advantage of the lane and they know where Spooks is. Because he showed himself in the top lane, immediately Lloyd and Moss pull the trigger and rush towards Raydeer and Edra.
Oh, Swiffer, he's going to get ulted here in the mid lane. Charm comes out but doesn't find the target. G4 just backs away.
So this is actually the part of Ahri's kit that makes her one of the most preferred mid laners against control mages and assassins. She's actually got sustain built into her passive, and it's overlooked so much of the time, but it means that as long as you have mana, you can kind of stick in these tough situations. But the other side of that is that G4 also has 14 CS advantage.
He is eating through minions right now, so he's just trying to take care of the lane. Goes in aggressive onto G4. 007X is hanging around.
I'm actually surprised 007 isn't deciding to invade right now. The fact that Spooks is locked up in the mid lane and G4 is pressed so far forward, would have thought for sure that he was going to run in and at least drop a ward on that blue buff. But instead, he's actually going to spend some of his well-earned gold. Again, this is a 2-0 Rek'Sai, has the completed Cinderhold now.
Chiefs continue to get pushed in here on the bottom side of the map. Raydeer able to take down a cannon creep at least. That is definitely important.
Chiefs are getting absolutely destroyed on like multiple fronts right now. Jungler is very far ahead, 2 kills, 10 CS. Mid lane is a whitewash, and he's going for Trinity Force first. Wow, haven't seen that out.
Yeah, typically it's the static Shiv rush out of Yasuo, just because it's going to be a very cost-efficient item, help empower him to clear waves, but more importantly, that crit stat for how it synergizes with his passive. Typically, Trinity Force is seen as the secondary pickup item for Yasuo. So.
Oh, wow. The reverse wind wall to stop.
G4 showing that he's no stranger.
Well, in comes Spooks. Top lane once again. The focus here from the Chiefs. Nice
flash
flash out from Warlock, but is it going to be enough? Spooks down into Spider Form, flashes forward, grabs it with the Venomous Bite, and he'll get out.
Strong gank on top lane for the Chiefs. Unfortunately for the Bangkok Titans, there's 0 response. That said, with so many resources of the Chiefs expended in the top lane, again, Lloyd just pulling the trigger is able to push that far forward, and 007 stealing away the red buff.
And straight away, just gets aggressive. G4 goes in as well. Swiffer's going to have to ult.
Yep, able to use that ultimate to get out of the way of Moss as he makes his way in. Vengeful Maelstrom was there threatening.
And the Chiefs actually swapped the lanes.
Oh, there's the flash in though. The ultimate comes down and Bangkok Titans rinse and repeat. That was perfect.
What's so key about this is that Moss made the initial attempt on the gank, forced the ultimate out of Swiffer, and then did the reach around for round 2, knowing that the Spirit Rush wasn't available.
And that just means all over the maps right now, 3,000 gold is actually the lead for the Bangkok Titans. Give them the red buff from the Chiefs, give them the dragon as well. And the Chiefs committed to this. They wanted the standard lanes. And this has really, really been a difficult early game for them. You see, there's a CS advantage on the AD carries, a 30 CS advantage in the mid lane.
It's just unfortunate because the Bangkok Titans, they beat them in the 1v1, the 2v2, and now they're technically out macro the Chiefs. I mean, they're trading the objectives fairly. If the Chiefs expend their resources top, they make sure that they get the bottom tower. If the Chiefs take the top tier tower, they make sure that they trade it for the dragon. There's nothing that's going unresponded.
Wasn't even able to grab that red buff either with Spooks. G4 back here in the mid lane, just farming up a storm like you mentioned. Moss not going to be able to steal away the Rift Scuttler, but the Chiefs now just trying to turtle this one up, get themselves into a decent point. Another wind wall backwards. I like it.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. So naturally, the comeback on Ahri's Q is going to be.
We already mentioned it.
No, I hadn't noticed him throw it backwards yet. I'm sorry, I'm having my eureka moment. I was like, of course he's just going to block the Ahri charm, but he blocks it on the back half because that's where the plus damage comes through.
Oh, they're going in.
That's pretty cute. Swiffer gets knocked up, but the Charm's going to refuse the ultimate out of the Yasuo. Descends comes in. Warlock, he's teleported down. Swiper's there as well. Cocoon doesn't find the mark. G4 takes down Swiper. It's a bloodbath already. Spooks trying to get in amongst it. G4 is so incredibly low. There it is. Gets the takedown, but it's 1 for 3 in favor of the bloodthirsty Bangkok Titans.
And this is another example of Chiefs going for early game fights when they do not need to. Culling going to be burnt here to try and clear out the minion wave. Raiders in danger of being dove.
A twisted advance would spell disaster for the Chiefs right here, but meanwhile in the top lane,
Yeah, that's Sivir just killing everything.
Taking 2 turrets.
for free,
barely-
untraded.
Well, it was not even for free. That was worse. It was like for 3 lives.
Of the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't expend anything to get that.
Well, didn't quite work out here for the Chiefs so far. 4,600 gold, now the lead for the Bangkok Titans.
So what happened here is that Swiffer and Ejim thought they could be aggressive, but Moss was there, so the commit comes out. Straight away, Swiper actually gets exhausted, so a lot of his damage is mitigated. He gets ultimated, and Swiffer gets exhausted as well. Double exhaust means that the assassin play out of the Chiefs just not as effective. Spook, sure, he picks up a return kill, but that's 3 for nothing, and the AD carry wasn't even there.
Yeah, the big thing is just for the duration of Fizz's health bar, pretty much either up in the air or exhausted.
Well, Swiffer trying to go aggressive, but Moss
One more time. And this is kind of what other teams have done the whole tournament long. Cheat their support players towards the mid laners because there are so many assassins, and if you get them behind, it is much more punishing. And Moss has just been much more superior to Ejim this game, you have to say, throughout the laning phase, and now with the mid lane presence, just beating him to the punch.
I mean, but here's the thing, we always expected Ejim to go for that level 2 gank onto the mid lane, and this is actually the first time it hasn't happened.
Well, Moss is going to get Descent. There's the playback as well as the Dark Passage comes in, but they just destroy him. Slicing Maelstrom did some work, but Lloyd has so much damage right now.
So much regret. So much regret on that. Hey, we got a pick. Never mind, I don't want this.
Well, he certainly wouldn't. That's a very dead Spider Lady.
It's a very far ahead Kenneth.
006 picked up
Look
a
at his.
Secret
I was gonna
Arm
say,
Guard.
look at his itemization. The fact that he has the Seeker's Art Guard. G4 now using his Wind Wall to zone and secure that tower for his team. But already the Bangkok Titans, 13 minutes into this game, look at how open this map is with all the outers down.
This is a counter pick that G4 was able to secure. Yasuo historically has been one of those riskier champions, but if you can make him work just because of how good the wind wall is in these siege situations, allows them to get the turrets.
Should be noted that he did complete his static shiv as opposed to rushing the Trinity Force, but had an early phase, possibly for some early skirmish power and sticking power.
Yep.
So
Also, the health don't want to be blown up by the assassin if anything does go wrong, and it certainly worked out for him.
Lloyd grabbing a blue buff as well here as G4 does not need it. Cooldown reduction, not exactly the best stat on a Yasuo. Only affects a couple of your abilities. Radiant going to take the Lantern out as G4. Surprise, surprise, some split pushing.
Well, once again, as soon as that happens, Swiper feels comfortable to move up in the top lane. He's probably the last viable win condition as Moss gets caught.
Time to explode the support player can Swiffer. Only that Morello and Omicron built up yet.
So this now comes down to what's the best objective for the Bangkok Titans. So now that all the outers have fallen, how do you attempt to siege up onto tier 2? So the most immediate objective is going to be that dragon on the 1-minute timer. So what the Bangkok Titans are doing is they're invading the Chiefs' red side jungle, placing down that triangle vision, and then shoving out all of the waves in the mid and bot lane. They have complete control over the bottom side of the map because those outer towers are down. So now it's about waiting that 46 seconds, getting on top of the objective, and trying to snowball from there.
Yeah. In response, the Chiefs just need to isolate the top side of the map. You can see that they've gone with the reverse vision because they feel like if anyone can win a 1v1 right now, it's probably the Fizz. Don't know whether they've got the best faith because that's a pretty tanky Maokai for this stage of the game. But, you know, if it is going to go right anywhere on the map in a team that is already 5,000 gold behind it, will be there.
No, I completely agree. I feel like as 007's actually caught.
Oh, they missed 2 skill shots there.
I was going to say, I feel like the Chiefs can only look for skirmishes right now around the Fizz and the top side of the map. If they look towards a 5v5, they're just too far behind the clock that it would almost be devastation, especially against the Maelstrom ultimate. And
both Maelstroms.
I was going to say both the Maokai and the Kennen ultimates, that massive AoE damage. So the Chiefs just need to let this go. If they can get an objective in return, that'd be fantastic. But for now, they're just buying themselves time.
The question is it going to be enough? Because
Probably not.
yeah, thinking about the Maokai Yasuo plus the Sivir in the later stages of the game, especially when you've got a Kennen as well who's building his Zonya's Hourglass as his first fully completed item.
Skirmish potential. That's what the Chiefs need to do right now. Defensively, ward up your own jungle, get control of the vision on your side of the map, and just start standing in bushes. There's still so much pick potential on this composition with the Descendants, with the Cocoon. Again, you cannot look for a 5v5. Look for a 2v2, a 3v3.
Oh, Radiant. He has to know that he's there now.
G4 just says, all right, cheers for the leash.
Trying to snipe it with the end of the Q.
Q Windwalk, going to deny that one for now.
I think he just missed.
Yeah.
I think they both missed.
Targeted skill shot. Confusing term.
Mistimed.
Potentially. But 25 CS is the lead here for G4 in the mid lane. You can see Swiper only a couple of CS down. Does have his Trinity Force completed now, but bottom lane Radiant doing his very best to collect the farm as it heads toward his tower.
And this is one of the things that we noted about Bangkok Titans is they're great at racing out to this lead and then they slow down a lot. The reason for that is other teams in the GPL, from what we've seen, do like to still contest objectives because they have confidence in their team fighting, and from what I've seen, I can't really blame them because they're such a good team fighting region. But the Chiefs are just going to continue to bleed, and you know, as long as they can keep that vision control that they have up, it's going to be very hard for Bangkok Titans to increase the lead, but they'll still be able to maintain it and become stronger until they can finally die.
No, that's actually a really interesting point. The fact that the Bangkok Titans aren't used to being super proactive about objectives on the map as opposed to fights. Like right now, they're just hunting for the Chiefs.
You can see that they're just taking away the vision control and they're like, eventually someone will fight us. Whereas the Chiefs, they're probably just happy to see the map as much as possible without giving up anything like a Baron, like a base turret, anything else right now. If they can trade it for the right price, they're like, all right, we'll do it.
Well, at the moment, 7,000 gold is approximately the lead here for the Bangkok Titans. Hasn't extended too far, like you were saying. Chiefs doing well, trying to turtle their way out. G4 is going to have his flow procced, but that is about it. We'll see whether he wants to go for a potential dive as that tornadoes up.
On so much gold. He's had a static shiv and a phage in his back pocket for like the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, he's got 2,200 gold, so he can go back. Hopefully grabs that one outright. Then the fun will well and truly start. Spook's caught though.
Oh, Charm actually lands Spell Shield from
That's
Lloyd's
twice
stop
Spooks
it.
has missed his cocoon, by the way. That's, I'm going to say, nearly inexcusable. Like the spell shield goes off and it's a choke point. Lloyd lives, and it looks like Bangkok Titans finally able to out-rotate the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's a really unfortunate situation for the Chiefs because that was pretty much best case scenario for them if they're able to lock down that Sivir, just because the Bangkok Titans are so spread out over the map in their skirmishes.
Radiant able to collect some farm. Bangkok Titans well and truly in the Chiefs jungle at the moment. Death Sentence not going to find anyone here from E-Gym as there's the slicing Maelstrom. Moss is in trouble though as Swiffer's going to go aggressive. The ultimate's still there. The fish lands. Swiffer grabs his first kill of the game, and the Chiefs, they get a pick.
And this is an example of what we were talking about and why the Bangkok Titans never really feel secure. 3 members go back, 2 want to invade the blue buff. What happens? The Chiefs get a 5v2, still nearly lose a kill, but in the end, Swiffer able to pick that one up.
Here comes the rest of the Bangkok Titans, though.
E-Gym going to get knocked up, but outside of vision here as E-Gym flashes over the wall, but it's going to die. That's the ultimate onto Swiper as he gets knocked up. The exhaust is down. Playful Trickster gets him to relative safety, but the flash forward into the Arcane Smash slows him down. Knocked up another time and spiked by G4.
I mean, the unfortunate thing at this stage in the game, that gold deficit that Chiefs have, they can't even fight 5v4.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, Moss, he's still back in base, will run out now. This will probably be the Baron started up. Unless Spooks gets a miracle steal, this game is looking very hard for the Chiefs to come back from.
No teleport from Swiper as well. G4 is going to eat a cocoon. Not too worried about that one at all. This Baron is going down so incredibly quickly. Bangkok Titans only need about a smite from here as Spooks gets in, but he's going to die.
Where was this Bangkok Titans over the course of the group stage? It's like we're finally seeing their final form. Wow, just absolute destruction across the entire lane. Every single lane was won. The jungle was won. Flawless performance from 007.
Yeah, the one area that the Chiefs arguably did pretty well was the Fizz top lane, and that is just a losing lane for Maokai, so you can't even really shout that out too loud. So right now, Chiefs look like they need to look towards second game. It's 10,000 gold and a Baron buff at only 21 minutes in. And you know, they got their comfort picks, but it just hasn't worked out for them.
But it was the standard lanes. I just have a feeling that you need to unlock Ejim in the early game to get Chiefs to a point where they can snowball.
The double-edged sword to that is that you also then unlock Moss. And Moss and Ejim are probably the most bloodthirsty. I mean, look at this guy right now. He's thinking about 1v3 for that red buff as the Kennen support.
And you know, you can say that, but at the same time, Moss, when it did get to where the supports were roaming around the map, beat Ejim like 3 out of 3 times. So game isn't even at the point where Ejim's had the best performance. He's 0-2. He was one of the first kills that went down in the bottom lane and didn't have a great laning experience against Moss. So Moss at this point just getting much more work done.
Swiper jumping around, getting some crits here from his Trinity Force.
The road to this point for the Bangkok Titans, though, showing up to the first international wildcard on a technicality, not having much time to prepare.
Well, the Chiefs actually all in on an engage here as 007X is going to get charmed up. Ejim very, very low as Moss blows the ultimate. Swiffer gets exploded as Warlock grabs the kill. Radiant picks up one on the back end. The support's down. Swiper's here. G4 comes in. Is he going to go for the dive? No, he's not. There it is. The ultimate as he takes down the Lucian. Chum the Waters is there as Swiper trying to get around. G4 falls, but you can see the Chiefs' life bars are so incredibly low.
And once again, probably your best case scenario. That was a 3 for 2. But what Bangkok Titans get off the back end of it, a turret, they're going to be able to move into the bottom lane. Swiper and Ejim probably can't even defend the mid lane. And all of a sudden, Bangkok Titans knocking on the first inhibitor.
They just fell way too far behind, way too quickly. So at this point, I feel like, yeah, you gotta look towards the rest of your series. Best of 5, long drawn out series. This strategy didn't work out. The Chiefs, they have multiple versatility. You know, they can play the micro, they can play the macro.
Yeah, and once again, let's take a look at this. They commit super hard, the Chiefs. Radiant doing a lot of damage on the back end, but they don't get 007X. That would have equalized it. Moss with a great ultimate. Puts out so much damage, and Warlock is just a brick at this point of the game. G4 able to get the knock-up off the Arcane Smash, delete Radiant, collects a fish for his trouble. That will mean that he eventually falls down, but Lloyd just does way too much work.
Yeah, the Swiffer relatively untouched at that point as well as Swiffer hanging out in the mid lane, but does need to be very careful as G4 and Moss are here. He's still trying to hold on to this game at the moment.
And this is why blue side became really popular, because you could blind pick control mages. Yep. This game, the Chiefs, they blind pick an assassin, although probably the most magey assassin there is as they look for an engage on Warlock. But G4 punishes them. This is why red side for so long in League of Legends was the contested side of the map, because you could counter pick the mid lane, and that's exactly what's happened. It's unlocked the rest of the map. And now the Chiefs are trying to trade objectives, but Bangkok Titans just pushed way faster.
There's only one minion there, though, so that helps.
They've got a creep wave behind them. It's just a little bit cute, though. Lloyd ate 2 tower shots.
Well, they do take down the inner turret. That's all of them dead as 007X gets hit by double skill shot.
Oh, they got
G4.
G4.
Hook onto G4, uses the QSS, turns it around onto Spooks. The repels there, Charm. Not going to find anything as Lloyd with a fantastic spell shield once again. The culling comes down, G4 finds his way on top of Swiper. Everyone is melting on the side of the Chiefs. That looked like Moss with a celebratory ultimate is going to be able to pick up something. I believe it is going to be Swiper who fell, and Ejim now has to deal with Lloyd critting him in the face. That last one was massive.
And that's going to be the game at 25 minutes. Bangkok Titans completely destroy the Chiefs. This is 2 bad performances in a row out of the Oceanic squad. And their micro game just doesn't seem to be on the same level as a very informed Bangkok Titans.
After a 2-0 victory over the Bangkok Titans here in the group stage, the Bangkok Titans strike back, and like you said, just pretty much thrash the Chiefs in the first game.
Yeah, and the laning phase as well, in the mid lane especially, the fact that G4 just had Swiffer's number that whole time just looked to put the Chiefs into this position that they're not really used to. They're used to having this mid laner who's in control of his lane and able to take things down, and wasn't there this game.
Yeah, I'm actually going to blame Spooks for that, like 100%. If you have a support, a jungler invading, and all of a sudden Swiffer is just stuck underneath his turret, that was the style of League of Legends that Bangkok Titans played. They just pushed all the lanes. Bottom lost first, and then it just snowballs the rest of the map, and that's why it's so frustrating being a mid laner, because if you got a Kennen walking into your lane, if you've got a Rek'Sai taking your red buffs and blue buffs, there's nothing Swiffer can do but sit under his turret and ping for help.
And that's the thing, though. When all of those lanes are pushed forward, it opens up the potential of a counter gank or even a gank. So all of the pressure is on Spooks to perform there, and he got his carnivore style of jungler. He got the Elise where he's supposed to be aggressive and unlock the map.
Yep, just wasn't quite able to make it work on the side of the Chiefs, but a huge performance by the Bangkok Titans, and they were able to ride that momentum that they got against Detonation Focus Me. That was a match last night that got a lot of their kills out. You know, they needed to try and loosen themselves up. I think 67 kills in about 30 minutes is probably enough.
They just stretch it out. No, but the cool thing about the Bangkok Titans, that game in particular, and, you know, we talked about how the definition of this match is kind of like macro versus micro, the power versus strategy. And the Bangkok Titans, you know, more about that 5v5, the chaos, the 3v3. Their macro play in this game, their map movements, when we say macro, that's what we're implying is their warding and their map movements in general, were actually really clean.
Yeah, they won both.
They stalled it out a little bit, I think, in the, I don't want to call it the middle game because this is a 26-minute game.
The middle of this game.
The middle of this game, it was kind of a question of, you know, hunting for the Chiefs. But once they figured out that the Chiefs weren't going to give it up, that they were just kind of giving away all of their objectives, they switched gears immediately, took a very early Baron right as it spawned. So good identification of the Bangkok Titans to their win conditions as it happened.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we talk about all the time. You can criticize teams that have 5,000 gold up at 16 minutes for not doing anything on the map, but there's not really that much to do at 16 minutes in the game. As soon as a 20-minute hit, they just won it. So what a performance out of the Bangkok Titans and the Chiefs. They need to go into their locker room and see if they have something to bounce back with.
Yeah, exactly right. It is a best-of-5 series, ladies and gentlemen. The Chiefs have a couple more opportunities, but we are going to throw it out to Pastry Time and Rusty for some further analysis.
Thank you very much. And what a first